Let's continue with our questions then. The next reader asks, given the realities of what is currently happening in our country and our world, what would be your fondest wish for what we could be witnessing 5 years from now?
Well, it's true that the rise into power of Donald Trump and Pence and the other people that they've appointed to the cabinet and the judges that they are appointing now, with the support of the right-wing dominated Republican Party right now, that we are in a particularly dark period of American history right now. This is reminiscent of, though still not identical to, but reminiscent of the McCarthy era, when an extreme right-wing element in the Republican Party rose to the ascendancy and began to repress any opponents of their positions and characterizing them all as communists. Now, of course, the issue is they're characterizing everybody who opposes their major agenda of corporate capitalism and imperialism as terrorists. And so that we're in a particularly dark period right now. But the fact of the matter is this is going to start to lift in 2018. That there's a major campaign going on now among the liberal, progressive, and even moderate political community to bring these people out of power. And in 2018, that we're going to see that the Democratic Party, be that as it may, is going to be ousting the right-wing Republican leadership in the House of Representatives. So they're going to be taking back one house. Now, there's a sub-issue that goes on inside the Democratic Party, and that is whether the taking back of the United States House of Representatives is going to be taken back by the conservative element in the Democratic Party, or the moderate element in the Democratic Party, or the liberal element in the Democratic Party, or the progressive element in the Democratic Party. There's obviously going to be some type of a coalition among these four elements, since the Republican Party has been taken over now by the extreme conservatives and reactionaries and authoritarians. This is on the whole scale of 8 different alternative worldviews, each of which has its concomitant political philosophy. So from the authoritarian on the extreme right, to the reactionary, to the conservative, to the moderate, to the liberal, to the progressive, to the idealists that end up being the utopianists. And of course, and we've discussed a number of times the 8th paradigm, new paradigm worldview that will have to come about in response to our acknowledgement of the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence. But these 3 elements on the extreme right, authoritarian and reactionary and real intense conservatives, are dominating the Republican Party right now. So it's a coalition of the rest of the people, from the moderates to the liberals to the progressives and the utopianists, that need to join together to take back control of the House of Representatives. And so that I believe that there will be a retaking of the House of Representatives. The steps that will be taken after the retaking of the House of Representatives to try to reinstate a better protection of human rights and better policies in the country will depend upon the nature of the center of balance of the coalition that undertakes that retaking of the House of Representatives. It's not likely yet that that coalition is going to retake the United States Senate. It's possible in 2018, but there's probably only a 33 to 40% chance that they'll take the Senate, but there's a 60% chance that they'll take the House of Representatives. So the first question that would be asked is, assuming that this coalition inside the Democratic Party does retake the House of Representatives, will they, through their Judiciary Committee, return articles of impeachment against Donald Trump and of course against Pence himself for his involvement with Eric Prince in attempting to set up this back channel with the Soviet Union or with Russia and Putin. So the bottom line is that the odds are that, at least at this stage, unless the progressives inside the Democratic Party, the progressives and the utopians, tend to dominate the new coalition in the Democratic Party. These are the so-called Justice Democrats. If they were to rise to the ascendancy, and this is Bernie Sanders in the 75 members of the Progressive Caucus in the House of Representatives, if they were to ascend to power, it's very clear that they would organize to return articles of impeachment against Trump. Now, but the moderates would probably not do that. They would, in fact, say, no, what good is it going to do to bring articles of impeachment against Trump as long as the as long as the Republicans are in charge of the Senate, where he would have to be tried on any of these charges, because impeachment on the part of the Judiciary Committee of the House of Representatives and a full majority of the House of Representatives, all that is an accusation. It's like an indictment. And there would have to be a trial in the United States Senate. And as long as the United States Senate is in the hands of the Republicans, the odds are, the moderates would say, that they will never convict him, or either one of them, him or Pence, of any kind of impeachable offenses. And so the moderates, if they end up being the center of this new coalition that ousts the Republicans from the House of Representatives control, they, as I said, the moderates will not return articles of impeachment against him. They'll argue that no, what we need to do is get everybody to mobilize and take over the Senate, as well as winning the White House back in 2020. Okay, so that's likely to be the agenda, unless the progressives and the utopians organize in a much more aggressive and effective way than is presently happening. But we can all hope that would, and more than hope, we'd have to participate in this kind of mobilization. But with regard to the specific question of what would I like to see happen, as I recall, the actual way that it was phrased is what would my fondest wish be as to what we could be seeing happen. My fondest wish would be, and it's not too extreme, is that the progressive elements in the Democratic Party, the progressive elements under Bernie Sanders and the 75 members of the Progressive Caucus, that they would organize, they would basically rise to the ascendancy in the Democratic Party and establish the Justice Democrats as the dominant force in the Democratic Party. They would take over the House of Representatives. They would return articles of impeachment through the Judiciary Committee. They would send the articles of impeachment up to the United States Senate. So even if the Republicans tried to resist it, they would have to hold a trial. The problem is that they would rig the trial in such a way, and they would assign people from the Republican Party to present the evidence, and so you would have a similar situation to what you see now in the House Intelligence Committee, where you have a right-wing Republican leadership dominating the Republican Intelligence Committee in the House of Representatives, and so they've immediately closed down the entire investigation of the Russian collusion on the part of the Trump administration. So that's what you get, even under the fondest vision that I have right now, because I believe it's so unlikely that the Democratic Party is going to take back the United States Senate, it's unlikely that they're going to be able to have control of the Senate in 2018. So therefore, if the progressive element in the Democratic Party in fact took over the House of Representatives, I think they should return the articles of impeachment and put them right in to the United States Senate and confront the right-wing Republicans and use it as a forum for presenting whatever evidence they were able to get through that blockage to the people. Okay, and that would be setting up the then upcoming elections in 2020. And it would be to everyone's advantage, because then it would be even a stronger argument as to why people should replace Trump in 2020. Okay, so that's likely to be what is going to be happening. My very fondest wishes would be that the progressive element in the Democratic Party would in fact be so effective in organizing even in 2018, and that the coalition that takes place would be able to organize to actually take over the Senate. In which case, in 2018, if the Democratic Party took over both the House and the Senate, then they would, of course, return articles of impeachment in the House, and they would convict him in the United States Senate. It would be a major Donnybrook with the resistance of the Republican Party sort of en masse, but the fact is he would be removed. Now, at that point, this is very interesting because people don't realize this, but if both Trump and Pence were removed by impeachment by a democratically controlled House and Senate in 2018, the person who would become the President of the United States would in fact be the Speaker of the House. And so with the Democrats taking over the House of Representatives in 2018 in November, it's going to be very, very important as to who they select to be the Speaker of the House of Representatives. The odds are they would pick someone other than Pelosi because they realize that is the person who they'll pick Pelosi if they only take back the House. But if they were to take back the House and the Senate, then they would pick someone who is more likely to be more toward the moderate, liberal to moderate wing of the party to put in as the Speaker of the House, because she or he would become president with the impeachment of Pence and Trump both. So it's a little bit convoluted, but as I say, I think that the odds are that the Democratic Party is not going to be taking control of the United States Senate in 2018. So that scenario is very unlikely to happen in any event. But it's just that those are some of the particulars of it. Okay, but the odds are that what will happen is the Democrats will take back the House. They won't return the articles of impeachment. They'll just organize and mobilize everybody to Trump and Pence by winning the White House back, at which point the entire argument on behalf of impeachment will just go away. That's what's likely to happen. So there's my scenario.